Welcome to this session of the Beginning Farmer Rancher Lunchtime Learning Webinar Series. As always, we want to acknowledge the support of the USDA National Institute of Food and Agriculture and their Beginning Farmer Rancher Development Program for their support of this webinar series. And we really appreciate all of you that have joined and participated in these live each week. And we have another good one in store today. We're going to hear today from Ms. Sarah Seams, who is an assistant extension specialist at Oklahoma State University with the Department of Agricultural Economics. And she's going to talk to us about ORECA, the Oklahoma Rural E-Commerce Academy. And she's also going to touch on social media, other digital strategies for beginning farmers and ranchers to consider. And so with that, let's welcome our speaker today, Sarah Seams. Thanks, Sarah.
All right, thank you, Dr. Campbell. We also have with us today Dr. Courtney Burr. She is one of the partners on this program. She's an assistant professor and extension specialist for farm management. So I'll be doing most of the presentation today, but she's joining us as well. And we thank you for joining us to hear more about the Oklahoma Rural E-Commerce Academy, as well as other resources and programs that we will be offering in the coming months. See if I can advance. All right, there we go. The Oklahoma Rural E-Commerce Academy, or as it was mentioned, ORECA for short, because it's a bit of a mouthful, is funded by the Small Business Administration, and it targets Oklahoma retailers who are rural, and it helps them to adapt to the shift toward online shopping and the use of digital media. The ORECA program mainly aims to provide technical assistance, training, and digital retail workshops to really help rural retailers remain competitive in an ever-changing digital landscape. As it was mentioned before, we do have some links to additional resources already posted on our webpage, and I believe those links are already in the chat, so thank you for doing that. You'll see some topics here. I'm going to go through this material pretty quickly today because there's a lot to get through, but I'm sure you'll get a copy of this presentation and any of the associated links after our webinar today. So for the ORECA program, we've just sort of launched. We've begun creating workshops or workshop content and fact sheets. Our point of sale system fact sheet is in final review, so hopefully that will be published soon. We also have some of our social media for retail and social media best practices fact sheets coming soon as well. In addition to those fact sheets, we'll be offering both online and in-person workshops that will begin probably late summer or early fall. And we have a QR code at the end of this session where you can sign up to just stay in the loop and be notified of those upcoming workshops or any program resources that we are publishing throughout the summer. A bit of an agenda for today, in addition to sharing about ORECA and what it is aiming to provide for small business owners, I'll give an overview of these highlighted topics here. So social media for retail, social media best practices, and choosing a point of sale system. All right, so we'll dive right in with social media for retail. We know through analytics that the average person spends about 2.5 hours a day on social media. So it really can be a very effective way for your business to expand your marketing strategies. Adding social media to your marketing toolbox can offer some benefits that traditional marketing can't necessarily. Social media can offer a real-time human element and provide those kind of real-time human interactions with customers. And most social media platforms offer the ability to track the analytics, which can help you and your business deepen your understanding of your customer base and the impact that using social media is having on your business. So let's take a little look at some of the data with regard to who's using social media and what platforms they're engaging with. So YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram really remain the top social media platforms used by small businesses. So for the purposes of this section, we'll focus on kind of these three popular platforms. On this slide here that you see on your screen, we have a chart showing these three platforms and their use by age group. So you'll see that YouTube is really pretty popular among all age groups, but then platforms like Instagram really drop in usage pretty dramatically as the demographic gets older. So that's something to take into consideration. Then in addition to the differences in platform popularity with regard to age, there are some differences between women and men and their preferences for using various social media platforms. So on this chart, you'll see that YouTube is slightly more popular with men, and then Instagram tends to be slightly more popular for women. When it comes to choosing which social media platform to use for your business, it can be very overwhelming. So if you can identify your target audience in terms of age and demographics, it'll help you consider your business objectives. And then also consider what type of content you plan to share. So for example, here, YouTube is really ideal if you're planning to share long form video or educational materials or tutorials, while Facebook might work best if you're looking to create a community around your business or brand, or maybe you're looking to promote events. And then Instagram is really great if you're planning to share a lot of product images and showcase your product or service visually. That might be the best option for you. But most importantly, just don't be afraid to experiment with the different platforms to find the ones that work best for you and your business, and that help you meet your goals that using social media is aiming to provide. You might even decide to use different platforms for different reasons, and that's okay too. In order for social media to really be effective for your business, you'll need to build a following. It's important to remember that this is going to take some time and effort. So some things you can do to help boost that is by encouraging any current customers you have, any family or friends to join or share with their friends and family to join as well. You can also encourage your customers to share a post, maybe about their purchase or experience with your business. And one of the best ways you can really gain a following is just by staying active on the platform. So if you do decide to use social media, just make sure you're posting regularly and you're interacting with the customers and replying to posts. It can be time consuming, as I mentioned. So how can you make the best use of your time? A great way is to divide up the work by creating some content in advance. Most social media platforms have a feature that allows you to schedule a post. And by doing this, you can create a few posts ahead of time and then select a future date you want to have those posts published. Just be aware that when you do schedule posted content, you'll need to be available when that does post so that you can engage with customers within a reasonable time frame. Another way to build a following is by cross-promoting with other businesses or brands. So this is by collaborating strategically with other businesses to really expand your audiences and your outreach. So for example, say that you own a local brick and mortar and your parking lot is available on evenings for special events or on the weekends. So you invite local food trucks to utilize your parking lot. This is a great opportunity for with your business and their businesses to cross promote and potentially attract new customers. Another great way to build a following is through the use of hashtags. So within social media, hashtags are keywords or phrases that are associated with either a business or a brand or a product, and they effectively create a search for that product, brand, or business. Using hashtags on social media is a great way to gain exposure and increase your reach. And the benefit is that they're not limited to your business or product, which means that anybody using that hashtag or searching for that hashtag has the potential of coming across your business page. Another advantage is that they're free. There's no cost associated with using them, but they do have the potential to help you grow a following. You want to make sure that using social media is making a positive impact on your business, and there are a few ways to do that. The popular media, social media platforms all have analytics built in where you can track the impact that using social media has on your business. But before diving into all the analytics, because there's a lot there, it's really important to understand what your goals are for using social media in the first place. So you might want to ask yourself some questions. Are you wanting to just grow your audience or client base? Maybe you're looking to spread awareness about your business or brand. Or maybe do you want more people just clicking a link from that social media site to your website and potentially purchasing a product or service? So first you want to consider the results that you're hoping to obtain, and then see if the data is showing a positive impact toward that goal. Some of the most popular analytics to look for are engagement, conversion rate, and click-through rate. The engagement is important. It's all those likes and shares and comments, and they really go a long way. If you're looking to expand your audience or spread awareness about your business, these sorts of interactions really will be invaluable. The conversion rate analytics show the number or percentage of users who take a desired action, such as visiting a website or purchasing your product. So that's what I mentioned earlier when, maybe you want someone to click a link on that social media page and go to your website. So it converts their time on the social media platform to your website and your business. And then lastly, the click-through rate, it's a metric that shows how many people clicked a link or a post and then followed it to your website or landing page. To determine your click-through rate, you'll need to know the number of impressions you had. And an impression is the number of times users saw your content on the platform. So here I have the quick algorithm here to calculate your click-through rate, but it's essentially the number of clicks divided by the number of impressions, and then you multiply that by 100 to get the percentage. So for example, here, if you had 15 clicks, so that's someone clicking to go to your website or landing page, but there were 100 people who saw that in total and only 15 people clicked, then your click-through rate would be 15%. So just some key takeaways here when implementing social media for your business as a marketing tool. Learning to use it for your business can take time. I think we all, or a lot of people do use social media personally, but using it professionally can be a little bit of a learning curve. Understanding your target audience and demographics will really help to create a more meaningful experience for your customers and then get that greater impact on your business. Be sure to create engaging and effective content. That's really going to play a key role. And then, of course, you can use the platform's built-in analytics to see if the kind of content that you are creating and putting out there is really getting you the best return on investment. And then most importantly, just be patient. Don't be afraid to engage with your customers. Don't be afraid to experience or to experiment, and just let the uniqueness of yourself and your personality and your business really shine through. All right, so now that we've learned a little bit about social media for your business in general, we'll dive into a handful of social media best practices. As we've been discussing before, social media really can be a beneficial marketing asset for your business. And we know that people spend a considerable amount of time per day on social media. And so it really can complement traditional marketing and help you expand your customer base. We're going to talk about some best practices that can really make your efforts more effective and hopefully give you that larger return on investment for your time. For this section, we're going to highlight some best practices and tips that'll make the best use of your time using social media for your business. So first of all, be a solution. One way to set your product apart is to show your customers that your product or service solves a problem. So maybe by articulating a troublesome issue and then demonstrating how your business works to address these frustrations can showcase to customers why they should choose your business, your product, or your service. Secondly, show your expertise. And you can also use storytelling to demonstrate to your customers why you have authority on a topic. Perhaps you created a product to solve a problem you had, and then after successfully solving that issue, you wanted to share the solution with the world. So for example, imagine you're a busy traveler and you're flying a lot and you're trying to not have to worry about the liquid limits so much. So you create a beeswax lotion bar to help limit those carry-on liquid items. And then next thing you know, all your friends and your family are asking for these lotions bars as well. So you start giving them as gifts. But the next thing you know, a business is born. And so share that story on your platform and share that with customers so they understand how your business came to be, the problem that you solved. Oh. And then secondly, just be authentic and be approachable. We know that social media often is used to portray kind of the positive only side of life, but you do want to be genuine while representing your brand, and that's really going to help you be relatable to customers. It can also help create a connection that's really authentic, and showing empathy for your customers' experiences while acknowledging their concerns can help develop a really loyal customer base. You can be approachable by creating a friendly atmosphere that allows customers to feel like they can reach out, that they can ask questions, and that they feel like they're able to really engage with your business. And some of those key aspects of approachability are prompt responses, showing appreciation to your customers, just being yourself and being transparent. Responding to customers within a reasonable time frame is probably the easiest way to keep customers happy. And then also, if there's an issue or complaint, it'll help keep it from deteriorating rapidly. And for businesses, it's usually considered reasonable to respond within about 24 hours and on business days. Another thing you can do is that you could actually post your business hours on your social media page, and then maybe in addition to that, specify any customer service hours you plan to keep. So maybe during business days, and then you might be able to say on weekends when available. And just be sure your response is not just timely, but thoughtful. Another way to be authentic is to be transparent. Transparency in using social media can encompass everything from maybe showing a behind the scenes to being open about the realities of running a business. So let's say you hosted a Black Friday sale, or you had a special deal and the orders are just rolling in. This can provide an opportunity for for you to give customers a glimpse into what running your business is like. So for example, you could show them a stack of packages and thank them for all of their orders and support. And then that will also let them know that you're working hard to get your product to them in a timely manner. Running a small business can be really tough and it can be really stressful, but it is important to remember to balance the positive as much as possible and avoid overventing or overly complaining. And then lastly, just be yourself. One of the appeals of social media is that it creates a more intimate connection when compared to traditional marketing. So just letting your unique personality shine through is one way you can really add value and engage with your customers. Don't be afraid to be human. Use humor when appropriate. And it can really allow you to connect on a personal level with your customer base. And then another way to set your business apart is by choosing your competitive advantage. So here's some questions I've listed out on this slide that you can ask yourself to kind of determine how your business or service is unique. Maybe did you have a career within a certain field before going into business for yourself? Did you maybe design a unique product or service? Maybe you assembled a highly qualified team to help you launch your business. So determine what your competitive advantage is and then really showcase it. This allows customers to quickly and easily identify what benefits your business offers them. And then again, once you've determined your competitive advantage, make it front and center. For example, if you offer a service and you've assembled a highly qualified team to launch your business, highlight your team members and their individual expertise. And then this can just amplify further by sharing customer testimonials that demonstrate how your expert team has helped them. All right. It's really important to implement what's called the 80-20 rule. And the 80-20 rule, when it's applied to content marketing, means that you should spend about 80% of your time focused on informing, educating, and entertaining your customer base. And then about 20% of your time should be focused on selling or promoting your product or service. Providing that value-driven content in the form of informational and educational posts is a great way to demonstrate your expertise and build that trust with your audience. And this will also help to keep customers engaged. And of course, you need to sell your product or service to stay in business, but sometimes being overly focused on promoting can be off-putting. You can also ask your customers to share what information resonates with them and then create content to address their pain points or questions. And by doing this, you're focusing more on building that relationship with your customers, which demonstrates authenticity and does help to build that loyalty. All right, we've got some images here, and we all know that pictures are worth 1,000 words, as the adage says, but it really rings true with social media. Pictures have a visual impact that can create an immediate understanding or emotional response, but you don't need to buy a fancy camera or fancy equipment. We nearly all have smartphones, and the cameras in these modern smartphones are better than any of the digital cameras that we were buying a decade or two ago. So using high quality photos on your posts, even if they're taken from your phone, can really communicate an attention to detail and pride in your work. And in addition to demonstrating this level of professionalism, high quality photos are actually more shareable and more likely to be shared by your customers. So even with a small marketing budget and a smartphone, you can create great images to promote your business or product. Here I have on this slide 2 of the main types of imagery for marketing purposes. The first is lifestyle images, and they portray people using a product or service in real life in everyday settings. So that's that picture here on the right on your screen. And this kind of marketing on social media allows your customers to relate to your product by imagining them using it themselves. And then this is compared to more traditional product photos, which is the photo here on the left, which are often just pictures of a product against a plain background. And lastly, another great best practice is to celebrate your customers and your community. Everyone likes to feel appreciated. As a business owner, you feel appreciated when someone purchases your product or service. And in turn, you can thank your customers by showing appreciation too. Celebrate your customers in your community that they've helped to develop. And it really helps to create that positive image and build that customer loyalty. A few ways that you can show customer appreciation is by simply thanking them. Post a message thanking your customers for being a part of your community and supporting your product or service. You can respond with thank you notes and personalized messages on your page, or reshare their post. Did the customer make a positive post about your business? Be sure to reshare it to your page and thank them for that post. And maybe if you want to go a step farther, you could reward them with a special offer. So perhaps you provide a discount or an additional gift or service for a limited time. Maybe you include them in a drawing for a product or service if they like and mention a post. I know we've all seen that sort of marketing on our social media. All right, we're going to switch gears here a little bit to our last topic for the day. We're going to discuss some highlights from our point of sale systems fact sheet. For retailers, you're probably familiar, but a point of sale system, or it's referred to as a POS system for short, just enables merchants to process cash or card payments for the sale of products or services. But in addition to facilitating those sales, they have other features too. They can calculate purchase amounts, they can generate receipts. Many of them can track inventory, and then they can even monitor sales patterns. So these systems are designed to be used for both in-person and online sales. And they're becoming increasingly necessary in the digital age. A recent survey by the American Bankers Association found that 72% of customers use a debit card or other means of digital purchasing when purchasing goods or services. And then there are additional studies that are showing that consumers are just carrying less cash and using less cash for purchases. So having the ability to take digital forms of payment can be really important for your business. In this fact sheet, we hope to help you evaluate which point of sale system might be the best for your business. And we do that by comparing a few of the really popular ones on the market today. When you purchase a point of sale system, it will likely include both the hardware and the software needed to facilitate the payment. And that hardware might be something like a debit or credit card reader. It might be a countertop terminal or a customer display, such as those tablets that we've seen every time we go into a store and purchase something. The tablet has become really popular. You may need a barcode scanner, and so some of them do offer a barcode scanner and receipt printers if that's necessary for you. And then some point of sale systems simply work with software that's just installed on your mobile device, so like Shopify. And then it sends, instead of printing an actual receipt, it sends a digital receipt to the customer. There are some really important factors to consider when choosing a point of sale system. Most of the systems do offer a free or low cost version of their product, and then it has the opportunity to upgrade to receive additional features that they may offer. Those additional features might include some inventory management. Perhaps it's the ability to sync to accounting software. And then they may also offer, some of them offer shipping support. Almost every point of sale system includes fees that are assessed per transaction. And it's important to note that the fees assessed for in-person sales can actually differ from those that are assessed for online sales. So it's really important to take that into consideration when you're choosing a system, because those fees can add up really quickly. And then maybe most importantly, you'll need to consider the fact that most point of sale systems require an internet connection. Some of them do have features that are accessible offline, but nearly all of them will require an internet connection to actually process a payment. And then another item to consider is that while customer and tech support is offered with most systems. There is a bit of a difference between the degree of individual or direct support that they offer. So in the coming weeks, be on the lookout for that full information and fact sheet to be posted to our website. All right, that was a little bit fast and furious of a run through of some of the resources that we will be providing with this new Eureka program. But please don't hesitate to reach out if you have questions or want to learn more about these topics. I've listed our names and contact here. And we do have that sign up section on our website where you can stay in the loop about resources and programs as they roll out. And then I do have a QR code on the last slide. Okay, so there's our QR code, and that's what our landing page looks like. Thank you again, everyone, for joining us today. We hope that you'll sign up to participate in future Eureka programs. And thank you again, Dr. Campbell, for having us. Are there any questions or about Eureka or
Thank you,
anything?
Sarah. Excellent information today. There are a few questions I've seen already in the chat and the Q&A. Please throw those questions in there if you have them, anything related to what we talked about today. And I'm also going to launch the poll for today. And if you'll make sure to take that before you hop off, we can start getting to some of these questions as well, Sarah, if you're ready for that. First question that I see actually goes back to the social media. And the question is there any data on TikTok? I know some of those videos can go viral, especially if you're creative, or go viral depending on what your product is. So I don't know that you have any words of wisdom you have on TikTok usage for us.
There is definitely data on TikTok. And just as I mentioned before, the reason why we chose those 3 platforms is just because they still are the most popular with small business owners. But TikTok is becoming more and more popular by the day. And so if someone's wanting specific questions answered about it, I would be happy to connect with them and visit about that as well, or connect them with our team.
Excellent. Yeah, if you're specifically looking at TikTok information, feel free to reach out to Sarah and the team, and then we can probably help you.
I don't think TikTok has as many structured options as well, which is why we kind of highlighted, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Facebook, you can have your business page and you can boost some of that. With TikTok, my understanding is that you're really at the whim of the algorithm. And there's been a lot of drama with, people that do sell products directly through TikTok. Maybe something will happen and their TikTok will get shut down and other things. So we probably need to do a little bit more work in terms of looking at TikTok. But my understanding right now is it just doesn't have really the structure that a lot of small businesses want. And TikTok trends and fads are really quick to come up and really quick to leave too. And so you have to spend a lot of time on TikTok to be able to really capture the pulse of that. So a lot of small businesses, I think, unless TikTok is your platform and your only platform, if you also have brick and mortar and you also have other things, I think the other kind of more structured options are a better fit.
Good thoughts there. So Emily says that she hasn't had much success with TikTok and it can be scary too. And then John says he was thinking of maybe TikTok as a way to push people to his other pages. And then Emily says, I don't
Those are
want you
all
wasting your time.
those are all good considerations. Yeah.
The next question that I see, and please do continue, you're taking the polls, but please keep asking questions. Kay says, how can I accept cash through a POS system?
Yeah, so it might differ slightly from one system to another, but most of them have an option where you can manually select cash point of sale. And then it would prompt you to enter in, well, you would select what product or service you're selling. And then when you go to the payment, you would select cash point of sale. And then you would enter in how much cash they're providing, if it's you know, $100 bill or 25 or $20 bill. And then it would calculate the change that they need to receive. And then it would, if you have an inventory management, it would still take that out of your inventory, and then it would collect those payment receipts. So if you calculate kind of your end of day sales or end of week or end of month sales, it would include those cash receipts in that data.
Very good. Emily also says that Square and Clover are both great. Any other questions from our group here? We've got some time with Sarah, if any, or Dr. Burr, if anyone has other questions. Looks like about half of you have taken the poll, so maybe that's what some of you are doing now. Please continue that. And if you have any questions, throw them in the chat, and we can discuss that.